face look weird when you dance? That is a very rude question for me to ask, isn't it? But it's something that so many people suffer from. We don't talk about it a lot because it's kind of a little bit embarrassing, but so many people responded when I asked that question on Facebook. And I'm going to let you into a secret. So a lot of people say to me that they really love my photos and my videos because I have such a wonderful smile, that I'm always smiling. And there's a very good reason for that. And that is because I have a really awful resting bitch face. I mean, it is really bad. And not only do I have a really awful resting bitch face, you know, my mouth turns down, I've got these kind of like sort of lines here, and slightly saggy cheeks, and everything just kind of like, I just look awful. And not only that, but my husband says I have strong features. So I've got kind of big nose, and I say I've got sort of like, well, you know, all of us kind of feel that we've got funny things about our face. But also I have a very animated face. So when I'm talking, I tend to kind of like, you know, I'm very animated. And so for years and years and years, I couldn't take a good photograph. And my husband is actually a professional photographer. He never had any decent photographs of me. We just used to throw them away because they looked awful. I was always pulling a weird face. Or, you know, he'd catch me when I was kind of resting, you know, just my face was resting, and I would just look really miserable. So when we kind of got to the whole Facebook, Instagram kind of time, for a long time I resisted it because I knew I took such a terrible photograph, and also I knew that when I was kind of like talking, I would look weird. So I resisted it for ages, and then I thought, I've got to do something about this because I have to, in my job, I have to have photographs out there. Of course I do. So I taught myself how to look nice in photographs. And then I extended that to making sure that I always looked good in my dancing, because there were times when I would look back at videos of myself and think, oh my God, you just look so kind of like tense and dumpy. And that's not the look that you want as a belly dancer. So I literally taught myself how to rearrange my face so that it looked good. And as I say, I've got a face that kind of pulls down naturally. It's kind of, I don't want to do that. So for me, one of the things that helps is to smile, because it lifts my cheekbones, and it kind of lifts my face and makes my eyes a little bit squidgy, but I'd rather kind of like have things lifted up than be woo like that. So I taught myself how to smile, and I practiced. I mean, you know, it's embarrassing to say, but I practice. I smile at myself in the mirror all the time. Not because I love myself particularly, although I'm getting better on that, but because I'm reminding myself how to put on a nice face for the outside world. And I am a performer and a teacher, you know, I'm putting myself out there. And as performers, that is a really, really important part of our performance. Now, as humans, we are absolutely sort of genetically wired to respond to people's faces. You know, the very first thing that a baby sees is its mother's face. You know, well, I suppose, you know, first thing it sees is it's going to be its mum's tum, or the midwife helping it out. But, you know, the baby looks up and it sees the mother's face, and obviously just kind of imprints on that, and the mother's face is the most important thing. And as humans, we respond so much to people's faces. But as dancers, we so often forget. We practice everything else. We practice to make sure we've got sharp hips, that we've got great undulations, that our arms are beautiful, but we forget to practice our face. And I actually start practicing my face early on. So when I'm working on something, of course, there are times, you know, I'm concentrating on working out my choreography or my sort of plan or whatever. And of course, my face is kind of like dropping down. But when I'm actually practicing through, I'm practicing my face as well. Now, it doesn't mean to say that I'm grinning all the time. Doesn't mean to say that I'm just kind of got this like pasted on grin. But what I do practice is making sure that whatever it is that I'm trying to communicate, I'm communicating it in a beautiful way. So even if it's kind of a sad moment, I'll make sure that I'm not just kind of slumped down here and everything pulled down, that I'm kind of like looking over. And personally, I kind of slightly lift the inside of my palette. It's something that I learned as a singer, the trained singer, to sort of just slightly lift the inside of the palette, and that just kind of opens the face a little bit. The other thing as well that's very, really helpful, it sounds horrible, but it's really helpful, is somebody told me that one of the really good things that we can do is to breathe through our mouth when we're dancing. Sounds horrible, becoming mouth breathers, but the thing about it is it relaxes the face. If you have your face closed, I mean your mouth closed like this, it goes tense, yeah? If you breathe through your mouth, you just have a slightly open mouth, just see the teeth a little bit, it makes the whole face much more open. But the most important thing, as I say, is to practice that face, not to just assume that it's all going to be fine. One of the big things, although as I say, I talk about the fact that I've got this resting bitch face, one of the other problems that people have is with tension. So we very often take tension into our face, and so the face becomes very sort of blank or sort of a weird, you know, very often we have weird habits that we might have had since childhood, and it's really one of the best things I can advise you to do is to video yourself regularly. Video yourself and make sure that you're using your face properly as well, and look at check how it looks. As I say, be aware of the fact that you may people do all sorts of weird things through tension. Sometimes people pull their chin in, or they get a bit of a sort of like, you know, sort of a weird rictus grin on their face. And you just need to find the thing that will sort your face out. As I say, it might be about relaxing it and reminding yourself all the time, relax your face, relax your face, relax your face. Or in my case, it's like lift, 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 lift. And be honest with yourself, but don't be harsh on yourself. If you're going to look back at your videos, don't go, oh my God, I'm awful, I'm ugly. Look at it and try and analyse. What is it that's happening? Does it look like tension? Is it because you're distracted and your face is just dropping? What is it, and what can you do to actually solve that issue? And practice, practice, practice. Smile at yourself all the time. Look at yourself in an adoring kind of way. Imagine that you are your audience in the mirror, and just give them give that image in the mirror what you want your audience to see. And I really hope that'll help. Let me know in the comments below if that resonates with you. And also, I guess, if there's anything in particular that you do or you're aware of, or, sort of any problems that you have, or how you've solved it. If you have indeed kind of like had weird face problems. As I say, it's something that so many of us have. And I know that there's going to be an awful lot of people responding to this and saying, yes! So let me know in the comments, and let me know if you've managed to solve it yourself, and how you did it.